Are you recording or
Yes, I'm
I'm
recording now,
recording?
Collins. I appreciate it, man. You wanted me to advise you on a couple of things, or at least drop what I know in terms of knowledge. So, on is it okay that I
Oh,
record this?
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go
Okay,
ahead, go ahead.
all right.
Can you also
So,
can I also record?
actually,
Can I
one
also
at
record from my end?
what I can record on my end, and I'll send it to you. I can just send you
Okay,
the
okay.
whole thing that
That
we
would be
come up with.
that, that would be beautiful. So first thing first,
Mhm.
um, I told you the title of the book. Right now, I have three books on Amazon,
Okay.
but I know they may not be the best of the best in its cadre. So this fourth book, I just want it to be a better version, not better version now, be a better product
Sure.
in
Sure.
regards to creation, modeling, format, as well as marketing.
Sure. Sure.
Because the first three where I was trying to experiment different things. So I have the manuscript right now.
You have it all
So what
done.
I just feel I wouldn't say it's a perfect job. It's not a perfect job, but at least the basic about 17 pages, about 18 pages
Okay.
actually.
Okay. So,
So
okay. Good.
the
Good.
framework, yeah. So my question is this: how will you help us create a more a better, I mean,
Better
a
product.
more complete product,
All right.
that
Let me
will
go ahead and let me rock it
entice
out for you.
appeal?
I would do this. I would
Okay.
take the theme that I have, since I got to record it. Then you don't even have to take notes. You can just take the recording and then take the notes out of that.
No, I like to know
Okay,
so that I
so
can,
this
yeah.
is what I would do. All right. With the 17
Okay.
pages that I already have, I would try to find out if there's a repeating theme. And typically there is. If you started off with a specific title, the title itself could be your theme. Or if you says, I notice I keep talking about this thing, right? And if we look about and think about how movies are made, they've got a theme. You have a log line. That's what the movie's about, kind of the summary. And then you have things that are these little motifs throughout the whole movie that keep going back to the theme. What I would do with those 17 pages is I would read them over and over, and I'd say, is there something that seems to be consistently talked about here? If you can find that thing, you write them down. Two or three things it might be. Then what I would do is I would go to Amazon. Now this is going to be on the marketing side. I would do two things. I would go to the Google and I type in what seems to be my overarching, overriding theme. And I'd see how many searches come up for it. Because what you're doing is seeing how many other people are talking about the thing you're talking about. Now, because the book is already written, you've kind of done it backwards. I wouldn't going forward. I wouldn't write a book without me first finding out who's already talking about a subject matter, and then what can I add to it. So let's say you're a pharmacist. Let's say I was talking about something related to that whole process, pharmacy. Whether going to school, whether what to do afterwards. Whatever it is, I would go to Google and I would type it in. I would go to YouTube. I would type it in to see if anything shows up under that idea. Okay. Now, if you're reverse engineering it now, you say, I got 17 pages. I'm going to look for a specific and resounding theme. Now, what I'm going to do is this. If I can go to these different areas, and there's some more areas that you can do, I go to Amazon, I type in the first couple of words, get this, of your book title to see if anything else shows up. Now, we know that if there's competition, that means there's possibly a market for it. If nobody's talking about that subject matter, might not be a market for it. And if there's no market for it, that means nobody's out there typing stuff into Google trying to find it. Right? So what you're doing is looking at this idea, these 17 pages, seeing if there's something that pulls out this resounding theme and to see if those are keywords associated with that. Keywords are just things people are looking for. You see what I mean? So you can have one book that goes boom in a good way because so many people seem to be talking about it, searching for it, asking for it, looking for videos. And then now you can put so many keywords in there related to that they just find it naturally without you having to buy ads and stuff like that. Right? Now, that's the first part of it. That's what I would do.
That for the title of the book or the keywords on the book?
I would look at not just the title. The title could be a keyword too, right? And then when you're building a title for it, if you haven't decided on the title yet, get a keyword rich. In other words, what are people already searching for? So if you're doing that method and you're saying, oh man, they're looking for this, they're looking for this, then you're going to put it in your title and make sure that what you had went through in your 17-page look over to see if that theme matches. You see, that's just one of those hacks that you're trying to say, what I'm talking about is what people want to listen to. Oftentimes, Collins, what we do is we write stuff, and I've done it too, right? I've wrote stuff nobody cared about, right? Then I got to go back and say, okay, what do people care about? And can I relate it? Can I add a chapter? Can I infuse some different things in the words that are what people are looking for? And then
so
put it out.
Let me just ask specific. Let me ask specific.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to manage your time very well because I know your time is so precious. I'm going to ask specific questions. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate your wisdom in regards to the title and the keywords. So what about formatting? What are your counsel? Yeah.
Formatting you can get done somewhere, right? As long as you've got it formatted for the specific area that you're putting it on. I'll give you an example. If you were just doing a straight PDF that you're going to sell on your site, you don't have to have a lot of formatting in there, right? You don't have to have a lot of fancy stuff, right? But you can go to, there's a place called selfpublishing.com, selfpublishing.com, and you can get people to help you with formatting the book. You can go to Reedsy, REEDSY, and find help formatting the book. If you're going to use it as an audiobook, you can go to acx.com and find people to narrate it and do all that stuff, right?
Okay.
But that part isn't as important as content, right? You can have a perfectly formatted book that nobody cares about, and it doesn't matter. Okay, what's your next question?
How can I get someone to help proofread the content and make it
right there at selfpublishing.com? That's another site that you'll be able to go there and find somebody to proofread it.
Okay.
I think you can do that probably. You can find that at a lot of places. Goodreads. There's a lot of different places, inexpensively. You can even go to Fiverr, Upwork, Guru. All these are .coms. Fiverr with 2 R's.
Okay.
Just to get somebody to proofread it.
How protected will the content be if
that part I can't speak on? Once you take it out of your hands and put it into somebody else's, sometimes it never knows what happened to it, right? If you're using a private person, then you can put them under a non-disclosure agreement, right? Let's say you're using somebody from selfpublishing.com. And you say, I need you to sign this non-disclosure agreement, right? ND, they call them, right? NDAs. And then you can have them sign it. And, I did a guy that actually narrated one of my books. I got him under a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that if what you read here won't be spread to somebody else, blah, 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 blah. But your words, as soon as you write them, are copywritten. In other words, you could write, just like if you notice, you can write a paper, and if you read somebody else's put stuff that they've seen somewhere of your paper, that's plagiarism, right? And you can find out if you use a service called Copyscape, COPYSCAPE, to detect plagiarism. Right. So, just so just little things that you can do. So you can put them under a non-disclosure agreement, right? And then, hope that they don't get the same idea, right? Or share your stuff. So then that means you may want to use somebody that is more reputable than just sending it out to somebody on Fiverr in a different country, if you say, for example.
It's okay.
But yeah, Guru, and they all are cool with that, right? Having people sign non-disclosure agreements, that's not unusual.
Yeah, because the
Even when
goal
you
is, I
build your
know
app, same thing.
yeah, even presentation makes, I mean, a professional can help one present one's ideas in a more logical way.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's why I feel is necessary.
Yeah.
Professional editor
Yeah.
reviews everything.
Yeah. And you got
Thank you.
all
So
kind
let
of
me
editors.
summarize what I yeah. Let me summarize what I learned from you about the ebook before we move to the app. First and foremost, you saying I need to go to Google and Amazon to figure out keywords that a lot of
Right. Now this is
folks
for the ebook, not the app yet.
uh,
Right. We're talking about the ebook.
no, we're not. Yeah, we won't start talking about the app yet. First
Okay.
and foremost, you saying I need to find the major theme of the work on
Yes.
my
Yep. Read your
product
17 pages, find a
and,
major theme. Yes.
and take the theme to Amazon and Google
Type it
and
in.
maybe YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
to
Amazon. Yep.
find
Type it
out
in.
the yeah, type it in to, and I should be able to understand the keywords people are searching for organically
Yes.
and use those keywords to modify the title of the book as well as the keywords that will be um, I don't know, somewhere in the book SEO structure.
Yep.
Then the
Yep.
second thing, or the third thing I learned from you is about the content, that I need to get a professional who will review the content,
Yep.
proofread
Then
it
that
to
part
make
is optional. That's up to you. If you believe that you know some
okay.
people that can comb over your work, right now, I tell people all the time, I says, done is better than perfect.
Yeah,
Done is better than perfect. If you're waiting for perfection, sometimes the window closes on whatever you're talking about. 20 other people could be talking about it. That's happened to me before. I got
yeah,
one book, only one book was out on that subject. By the time I got done messing around with it, trying to make it perfect, 5 people had books out in that same category. So
yeah.
speed, sometimes speed matters more than, getting it perfect. So you might want to consider that. That's up to you. Comb over it 3 or 4 times yourself. Have somebody that's depth at the English, and I mean English in terms of they can read those sentences real well. I pick my most critical person. The person. Some people like that. They're always fixing your words. Say don't say that. Say this. Find that person. Have them read it. They got real critical eyes, and they'll notice stuff that you won't. Now that's the fourth look. Then, if you want to have a editor look it over, but keep in mind, Collins, if it's just an ebook, then you don't need it super
Mm,
duper perfect. You just need it good enough to be in front of people that want that subject matter. Make sure you don't have the errors and all that kind of stuff, the small stuff, right? Make sure there's an E on the end of the, there's a in the middle of cat. I'm being funny, but these are little mistakes that I've made, right? So you
mm,
have the person that does the spelling, right? They look over the spelling. Now keep in mind, if you're just doing an ebook, this can get expensive. So you want to be careful, right? For an ebook that you're selling for $7.95, you don't want seven, eight, $1,000 into it. You see what I mean? So anyway, what's
I
your next
get.
question?
I think I'm trying to summarize what I learned about the ebook. So get a title via SEO, get someone to format the book for you, or rather, there's a software I could use. Actually, Amazon has a formatting device
Yeah,
platform. Are you aware of that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
They've
that's
got
what
a
I
lot of
use in my
tools right there. So you could do that.
yeah. So that's what I use. Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Then if there if there is need, I may think of outsourcing, but since because of the costs, I may think of doing things locally and look for people locally who could help do things inexpensively. So that's
And
that
fast.
of the book.
Yes.
I'll get back to you in regards to what I found about the title, the book cover, and the
Yeah.
aesthetics, the formatting of
This is
the book.
something that
Yeah,
let's you want to go and want me to show you what I mean?
I think I understand what you mean, but you can
Okay.
show it to me if you don't mind.
Okay. So say it again. Okay. So what I was gonna do is I'm just gonna go over here to
Mm,
yeah, I'm gonna go to Google. Let me pick a Pick one here. Pick one. Share this one. Okay.
Well, the area I need more conversation is the app. I just want us to round off this very quickly so that we'll have more time for the app.
Okay, well, let's close this up with this one. If we had, let's say, business, right? I'm just going to say business, right? So I don't want business startups. I just want business. Let's say you went to something like, what would you, do you want to put in the name?
No, I think I totally understand what you're talking about. For example, being how to be a millionaire, for example.
All right. So what we'll do is then look at this. Right now, look what happens when you do that. Right. Look at all these 125 million searches. Right, 125 million. So that means a whole bunch of people are talking about how to be a millionaire. You see what I mean? So then you can even go down and see what are some of the top things people are talking about, and you go, okay, cool, right. You can go to some of the videos, and you can strip those videos apart for what they talk about. Right? There's tools that you can use to see if there's keywords in there. Now let's go over to Amazon. And I guarantee you, Amazon's probably got some of the same stuff. Right, you go to Amazon and then you type in how to be a millionaire. Right? But look what happens. Long before you even get to typing in specific books, they give you stuff. How to be a millionaire, how to be a millionaire by 30, how to be a millionaire real estate agent, how to be a millionaire God's way, how to be a millionaire game. All these different things are different things that people are talking about, right? So then you can say, oh, that's good. That means I'm in the right area. So if you go to How to Be a Millionaire book, what also happens is that you find out how many are already on the market. You look at what they're writing, look at their titles. Look at this. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. That's an old one. That's an oldie and goodie. See, he's using yellow. This is all stuff that gets you ideas. Right. And then you go, okay, well, what else is happening? The Millionaire Next Door, Automatic Millionaire, what kind of colors are you using? Right. So look at this. And then you go down to stuff they suggest. All of that becomes researchable so that you can start understanding what people are talking about. Then you can get into if it was a bestseller, all kinds of cool stuff, man. So that's my point here, is that you have a chance to do that and then get really good research that helps you decide on what I should be talking about in my book. Okay, you wanted to talk about the app then, right?
Yes. So I know time is well invested. So let me give you the concept and I will let the floor open.
Okay, remember you're recorded if you don't want to share that, so don't say it. If you're okay with that, talking about the concept. So
my goal is to learn. My goal is to learn. I think I'll be glad if you are more explicit because I just want to have a framework.
Okay, good.
So I told you about the product we're trying to improve on.
Yes.
That is a meditative product.
Yeah.
So okay, before now, we have an app in our company called Medication, called Reminder. It has its flaws. I know it's not a perfect product. And even MediSave is not perfect. But we're trying to build a product that will help with adherence at the same time prevent addiction. So I drew a prototype of this book. I could show it to you if you don't mind. Are you okay with that?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, we're recording. You got to be okay with that. Go ahead.
No. I just want to show you I don't know if you can see my brain.
All right. Okay. Okay. So that's good. Okay. You got a prototype of how you believe it's going to work. So that's what you're going to be giving to your designers.
Yeah. But okay, let me pause for a while. What could be the first, second, third, and fourth step in the entire process?
Well, the first step is what you're doing. The first step for me would be, is anybody in that market? And you determine,
Yes.
yeah, there's products out there, but they're garbage. Right? Now that's good because now you want to improve on what's already out there. You wanted to add some
Okay.
components that you think are important. That's good. You see that there is already a market for that kind of product. That's the, that's the whole idea behind entrepreneurship, is that we see something and we want to improve it. So now I would probably, as a second step, is I'd say how many people are in this market. And this is where I'm getting to, Collins, is why am I doing all of this pre-work? Is because I want to find out if when I pop my app, it will sell because there's a ready market for it. Now, keep in mind, just because you think it should happen doesn't make it so. So when I'm talking about first step is I would see if there's a market for it. Boom. Yep, there's a market. Then second step, how much of a market? Okay, and this is getting into it now. How much of a market? Because you got to find out. You got to go and do some research. You got to do some investigation, right? How much of a market? In other words, are there 100,000 people that could potentially use my app? And how you're going to find that out, Collins, is you're going to see what the competition is already, who they're already selling to, who they're missing, who also could use this app, but for whatever reason, they are not. So that's going to give you your market size. Now, this is counterintuitive because people do it the opposite. We get a feeling in our hearts, feeling in our heads, and we run out, build something, nobody buys it.
Yeah. You know,
Been
we
there,
had
done that.
we had this conversation yesterday, and told you we've done a lot of market research, and
Okay, research is done. You know
I,
somebody wants it, right?
I could tell you there is need for it, because
Okay,
there is need for adherence products, and there's also
Collins,
need.
let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. And this is why. There's two things between, there's two differences: needs, wants. I
I
need water. I need food. Everything else, I probably don't need. I want it though.
Can I say something, please? Can I say something, please? So the area we're trying to come in, sorry, the kind of value proposition we're trying to hammer on is something unique, like music therapy, because a lot of older would thinking of a device that has some music embedded into it,
Okay.
a device that can store health information. So with a
Okay.
query, it can output it. All the current products in the market don't have either of these.
Okay. So
Uh,
you're
so
adding on and
so
improving.
I'm improving the current product in the market
Okay.
right now, the
Great.
leaders, and also trying to also bring in. If you go to our website, it's in the I don't have time to go there right now. So basically we have an addiction buster that prevents or minimizes the likelihood of drug addiction.
Okay. Great.
So it works via a mechanism. And we also have a medication called Reminder, which helps minimize or rather improve adherence. So the
Okay.
goal is to synthesize these two products into one. So, question number two: would you mind? Is it better to have a prototype electronically and have someone improve upon it, the way you do the website, and have someone to fix a few things?
I think
Because if
it's,
someone builds from scratch, they may charge a lot and they may claim ownership of the idea and invention. What do you think?
well, that's always, there's always a risk that somebody gets suddenly your idea, but that's where your non-disclosure, if you got a nice, not strong non-disclosure agreement, et cetera, comes into play, right? How many movies have you seen? You'd be like, hey, wait a minute, I've seen that movie kinda before, right? Because somebody was in the meeting that no longer is in the meeting, they go write their own movie. So you gotta, there's a risk involved in that. But having a prototype out in the marketplace that people can use and then tell you what it needs is better than having just ideas and not getting to market. And I say that from this perspective. Anytime you can put something in somebody's hands and they say, yeah, how about I don't like this? And then you go, well, what do you like? Because it's not going to come out perfect, because we got too many different people that need different things. So absolutely, having a prototype that then can be improved upon is good. You got the people that are manufacturing it that are under tight NDAs. If you send it across seas, there is no NDA. They can create. You don't have an NDA. Trust me, right? When you have somebody that's just like into stealing your stuff, your intellectual property, then. But if you find a nice little small company that can build this thing very, very fast, and right now with 3D printing, you should be able to get something built in no time. This is the same. Right now, you got a product, and then you start doing whether you do a focus group or whether you do some case studies, whatever it is, then you get people to saying, I don't like this, it didn't work, or I would really like this. That's better than not having nothing. So the fastest you can create some kind of prototype that you can put into your potential customers' hands, and I don't mean in just the focus groups, but in their hands, and you could say, give me some feedback on this, on how this works for you, how it would work, is better than doing it the other way.
How do we get a good web developer who will not charge much?
You can find good web developers everywhere, man. I mean, that part, and I can give you some names of some people that can build you a WordPress website that's fantastic for $99. Done. $99, it's done. You see what I mean? That part is irrelevant to the point here.
I mean the app developer. That's what I mean.
App developer. Okay, web developer, app developers. Some very, very good web developers over in India. I'm just saying. Just Pakistan.
Well, the NDA also,
they do some good work over there.
Will the NDA also, are those people faithful in preserving?
It's hard to say. I can't. It's hard to say. If you got a reputable place that is building your app out, right? I mean, you can get that same kind of thing here in the United States. We cannot, indict anyone. But if you've got one thing that you could do that would maybe ensure that people don't have the whole thing, if it's multiple pieces, you can have multiple people working on just one piece. I mean, if it's not too technical where everything has to talk to each other, but if you have an opportunity to do this component, this component, this component, this component, and this component, right? If you have that opportunity, then nobody, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So if you have to worry, then you say, I just want you to do this. I just want you to create this. I just want you to create this. And then you bring them all together, right? You can do that. That can help you a little bit. But if I'll tell you, like I tell anybody else, if you're worried to the point where you can't act, then you might as well not do it. Because you are going to see products. Think about this just for a second. Think about this. How is it all of a sudden we get one company that says they come out with the vaccine? Next thing you know, you got 10. How is that possible? That's because somebody had a piece of it and they found the paper that helped the people that got it out, and then they reverse engineered it. So there's no real protection for somebody stealing an idea. No real protection. The main thing is that, can you get out there first to market? Can you get out there fast? Can you get it prototyped? Can you get it into people's hands and they go, all I know is that I got it from them first, I'm using it. Right? Think about the iPod. Was that the first product? No, it was not. There was other stuff out there before that, but somebody improved upon it, and somebody says, I got better marketing. And they got out there and says, we didn't have to be first to market. We could be last. We watch what everybody else does. So your job is to get out there, get in the hearts and minds of people in the usability so that you can say, our product is what's working. We constantly improve. We love our clients. We listen to them. We change things, and boom. That's why you don't want to wait. You want to get it out there as fast as you can, right? And then you want to get it a good use studies on your product. How do you do that? Is by assembling all of the pieces, sir. Assembling all of the pieces, putting down what you got in your paper and saying, who do I need to talk to next? I need somebody to do a prototype. Boom, let me go over here and get a prototype done for as inexpensively as I can. I need to get the software made. I need to get who does this, that, and the other, right? There's new app development opportunities out there if you're using like Flutter, right? People that are using the Flutter approach to app development, right? It is very fast. It's very quick. So Flutter app development. So I'm looking at it right now. I just went online. Flutter development services. 97% free trial success. Flutter is just a language that they use to build your stuff. So you go over to somebody and says, well, I want somebody here. I'll give you an example. Here is a site that all they have is really smart developing type of people on there. It's called TopTal, TOPTAL.com. In other words, it means top talent. But you go on TopTal, man, it's a bunch of engineers and very, very brilliant people. You can go on TopTal and find, look at this, TopTal app developers hire in 48 hours. Start now. So you can go over there and tell what you got a pretty good idea what your product is, and you'll have talented people that come and say, I like to work on that. And then you can pick 4 or 5 from people from TopTal, and that way you can, you can keep your costs low, and you can say, okay, I want you to do this part, I want you to do this part, I want you to do this part, and I want you to do this part.
All right.
And then everybody comes together.
Before we go full blown, the goal is to have a prototype. Can you recommend 1, 2, 3 people who can? I can't
off the top of my head. I really can't. I'd have to think about what I could recommend to get yourself a prototype. Is what I just did, is going over and there's one company that I've used. It's called VT Designs, right? That's out of India. But I would go to Top Talent, TOPTAL.com, and start the process there. I really would. Right? TopTal.com or VT Designs, and I think it's with a Z. Yeah, VT Designs. That's who built one of my apps. VT Design, DESIGNZ.
Did they design everything, or they design it?
Yeah, they'll do it all. They'll top to bottom. They did mine from top to bottom, right? Now, if I may not use them again, simply because app development has gotten less expensive, right? Because of people are using this Flutter app, for example, or they're using the Flutter development services. So there's a place over here that's using Flutter. My son actually had an app built, and the guy used Flutter, but he was out of Pakistan. He got his app done for $400. That's my point.
That is good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not heavyweight or anything like that. It's kind of an app that uses the backbone of Excel to make decisions, right? But, and people can get that over at the Gumroad store, right? Go over to gumroad.com and go to Decision Buddy. And, you can get the first version of that. And when you go about, he's having an app built now, for it's costing $400. When it's all said and done, it might cost a little bit more, right? But depending on how many things your app needs to do is going to determine the cost. I had a meditation app done. It cost me $2,600. Right now, again, that was a couple of years ago. I wouldn't probably use those folks today. I'd say find me the Flutter app developer. This is what I need. And I'd find somebody that already has that type
So
and have them, do some things, be
how
inspired
do
by it.
we how do we how do we how do we find a Flutter app developer?
Just what I did. I Googled it. Right.
Okay,
So
just
I'm
Google.
gonna tell you another story. Here it is. I'm gonna go into Google and I'm gonna type in Flutter app development, right? And when I go to Flutter app, guess what happens? I didn't even get it all in, and Flutter comes up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different Flutter related things, right? Flutter, T-T-E-R. Don't type in the wrong word. Some other stuff will come up. Flutter app development. F-L-U.
Can you spell the Flutter?
Flutter app development. Right now, what I would do is I would put it in quotation marks so that you don't get everything. So Flutter app develop. All right, so then put it in quotes. Put Flutter app development in quotes, and then see what comes back then. So okay, now it dropped from millions to 453,000 results. Okay.
Okay.
So if you type Flutter, F-U, and then now you got higher Flutter app developments as people are running ads to be top of Google. You got all these different places: Meta Designs, Flutter Development Services, Custom App Development, with you from concept to code. All right, now these are people that are running ads because they have something that they believe they can sell. Here's a #1 app development company, 32 plus apps developed. That's hyperlinkinfosystems.com. Right? Are you looking at the same thing I am?
Can I just see what you do? Can you show your screen so that I will just...
Sure, yep. Let's go ahead and do this right now. So take a look at this. Here it is. Flutter app development. See, Flutter, F-U-L-T-T-E-R, app development. And then I put it in quotes so that I didn't get the whole of the web. Right? And then look at this. TopTal, they're doing ads for app development, guaranteed to succeed. They got another place here called Meta Design Solutions, right? They're running ads because they believe they can do some good stuff. Custom app development with you from concept to code. So you're starting to get, now this one says the #1 app development company. I click on them, right? You click on them and see what they're talking about. Look at that, URL not found. So you know what? Maybe they need to get their stuff together there, right? They're running apps, so they gotta. Okay, so no, here's the ad right here. Link Info Systems. Let's see who. They're not even saying that they exist. So let's go to TopTal. All right, so Top Talent hired 33% of freelancers, Flutter app development application developers. Hire a top Flutter developer now. So this right here is kind of like the Fiverr, the people per hours, the Upworks, the places like that, right? But look at this. They're showing you our exclusive network of Flutter developers. This is what I would do. I'd look at this and I'd go and try to find them, right? I go on LinkedIn and try to look them up and say, hey, listen, I this is what I need. But you see what's happening. They're using Flutter. They're using React. They got all kind of different things. You want to hire this guy, you click on him. You see my point? They're telling you right then, and then you can now talk to them.
Can I see what the cost implication of this might be?
I can't show you that. They probably won't tell you until they get an idea of the scope of work. That's the key. How much is going to be involved? That's where your writing and your drawings will matter, right? Because what you've done is you kind of worked it out in your mind and you told them, this is what I need. This is what I think it's need. This is what I need. And then you might say, hey, there's a product out there right now. Here it is. You show them what that product is, and then they can go take a look at it and go, I'm trying to improve on that. But they can look at that particular product and go, oh yeah, I see what you're looking at. Okay. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. You're going to need this. But my point is that, look, you got all these places, then it keeps going. Right? Then you got articles on it. Right? If you go over to Medium, this is an article. Look at this article. Why Flutter has become the best choice to develop apps.
Flutter is cited as a language. Is it a website or is it language? Computer programming language.
It's a language, right?
Okay.
It's the kind of language, and from my research on it, and I'm not a developer by any stretch of the imagination, but when I started looking into it, it's a web application that allows apps to talk to each other better. That and the guys,
So,
if, whoever's listening to this, and when they get a chance to listen to this, and they go, dude, that's not it. I'm not a developer, so. But it's become. But look at this. You got a whole article that talks about it. The article says, "Hey, why has this happened? Why Flirt has become the best choice to develop a startup mobile app in 2020." Right now, look at this. This is a 9-minute read that'll get you understanding. She's got 164 claps. So look at this. Are you a bootstrap and planning to launch a mobile app, but still in dilemma? Which cross-platform? She's telling you what to do. And then she goes into it a little bit with 2.7 million apps in Google Play Store and 1.84 blah, blah, blah. So you get a chance to read why Flutter. And then
so if go on, I'm sorry.
it might not be the app that you would need, but at least you understand that she's telling you, hey, this is why it's become the best placed, right? Because it's a Google to develop robust, scalable, and high-performing mobile apps for multiple operating systems. The reason is it works on everything. That's what I can remember about the research, is that it works on a variety of devices. That's why people are using it.
It's okay. So if I understand you well, language like C++, JavaScript, and whatever now, Python and stuff like that.
Yeah. So,
am I correct?
More than likely, people that understand those languages are going to be able to utilize Flutter. Some people have their own likes. They do it this way. But what if they're using, let's say, I'm not a developer, JavaScript, and it doesn't work on a specific device? That's why people have run over to Flutter. It just makes sure that everything works on everything else. And I've seen a demo of it. There's a lady on YouTube called Angela Yu. She talks a lot about Flutter. She has a very, very good information, but she's an app developer, right? So Angela Yu, watch this. I'm going to pop up my screen here. She really gets on it. She actually does. She's, like I say, she's a developer herself. And then she talks tons. Let's see, I'm going to put in Flutter. All right. So Flutter review course. She teaches on this stuff. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you how, again, you're starting to get into the research part of it. So if you want to find out when you're talking to your developers, you say, listen, I just called one up the other day, for example. It says, hey, do your design company use are skilled in Flutter? And the guy called me back and says, yes. So, but you can start getting an understanding, right? Okay. Without getting too deep in the weeds, an understanding of what to be talking about when you talk to the developer, so they don't just run you over, right? Look at this. She's saying, why Flutter, learn Flutter, all kinds of stuff. Learn Flutter, your first app, number one. That's if prerequisites. That's if people wanted to learn how to do it. But you're not going to be dealing with that, right?
I know someone said it's better for anyone who plans to own an app. Sorry, an entrepreneur who plans to own an app to learn the basic language. So do you subscribe to that, or
no,
just outsource?
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. Not at all. Not at all. And what I think they're getting at is so that web developers don't overcharge you. So if you know basic language now, but I'm not going to spend the time. You got to really think about what it is you're trying to do, the time that's going to take to get it done, and that adds to that time. It's already going to take time to get it done. You need to get out to market, get yourself a nice prototype so that people can start using it and tell you, nah, you need to fix this. I like this, and I don't want this. I don't need this, right? So learning just enough to have an intelligent enough conversation, you can get all that done on YouTube. You go and talk to, or look at what Angela Yu was talking about. And that's what I did. I went on and I followed some of her stuff. And I looked at maybe 3 or 4 videos. Look, they're 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And I got a basic understanding. Then I understood enough to when I called my guy that did one of my other apps, is I was able to say who who in your company is using Flutter, and it says, oh yeah, we've got some people that are doing that. Knowing that and knowing how it works with each other, then I can look at my app and says, yes, I need this. I need it to work on every platform. I need it to be working on every platform. So then I know, great, this is the one to use. And then I know that because it's easier to use, it's going to be cheaper. Because you get those, those pros that are using just JavaScript or something, right? Just Python, and they're going to charge you because guess what? Nobody else is doing it. So that might help you. Getting 30 minutes in, an hour in on YouTube, learning about learning about Flutter. Going over to, if you want to dive into it a little bit more, Coursera or Udemy. You can get cheap courses on this stuff, man. And then you get a basic understanding. So when you have a conversation with the developers, they don't try to run you over by being a total novice. Right now, I'm not a developer, but I know a little bit, enough to be able to have a reasonable conversation or look it up. That's the key. So those are my recommendations.
Thank you. So let me summarize what I learned from you in regards to app creation. The first thing is I need to do market research to know the size of the market.
Yes, sir.
The demographics of the users, potential users.
Yes,
and
sir.
also find out who are the competitors, who are the existing
competitors,
product manufacturers in the field. Yeah. So once I've done with that research, I would need to conceptualize my invention, or rather my contribution to the marketplace on paper. Then when I'm done with that, I need to study Flutter language on YouTube or Coursera or somewhere, Udemy or somewhere. Then when I'm
all
done
that
with that, the
helps.
fourth step is it helps, yeah, to understand the basics of the language.
Yeah.
And the fourth step is to visit toptower.com to find a developer who can transmute these ideas on paper into a software.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna stop you there because I don't want to look at these things as steps, because this is not a step kind of approach. You can literally put this you can be in the middle, and this could be like a spoken wheel that you can pull in one area before you have to do this other area. So looking at it linearly is going to be detrimental, I think, to your ability to get stuff done. Linear suggests a certain way to get it done. In this particular case, I don't believe there's a certain way to gather information. You don't have to be on the fourth step. You can do that first. You see my point?
I was just trying to summarize what I learned from you step by step. Of course, I know success is multilinear. Multi because different things happen at the same time.
I just had to make sure the fourth step. No, I didn't mean that in the fourth step. I didn't mean that in the sixth step.
Yeah. No.
But you get it. You get it. Right?
Yeah. So
I'd be on YouTube tomorrow checking this stuff out before I talk to Top Towel and all those guys. I'd be understanding of it.
It's okay. I'll go to work immediately to work on the book creation and also the app creation.
Right.
And hopefully I will let you know the outcome of my research. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom. Is there something you think would have been useful that you didn't have time to talk about?
Well, I think in your particular case, you've got multiple things going. What I would do, and this is what I believe would be absolutely useful to you, is pick one that you can totally immerse yourself in and concentrate on until done. Right now, this is what I do when I'm helping people that have a lot of ideas. This is what I help them do, because it's like the pot calling the kettle black here, because I get a 1,000 of them, but I can't do them all. But what I can do is I can literally take a day or a week, and I've done this all last week. All I was doing was learning. I called it Learn Week. I didn't do any creating products, creating courses, nothing. All I did was take the stuff that I had been buying, the books and the courses, and learn sun up to sundown. Total concentration. Now I can say, because I did that, I'm done with this, done with that. It's not lingering. So in your case, book, total concentration till done, right? But you want to do it fast and you want to get it done because these other ideas need attention too. And you can tell them, I'm not discarding your idea. I'm going to get to you next week. Oh, okay. You know what that means? Time is up. But that is total concentration. So for example, you go to work, from time you get home, have dinner with the family, play with the kids, kiss the wife. I'm going into the study, honey. And then from that time on, right? In your particular case, it might be because you have other things that you have responsibilities for, is that you might be from 7 to midnight. All you're doing is one single thing, totally 100% concentration until that one thing is done. There's value that will come out of that. And as a pharmacist, you know this. There's value that will come out of total concentration on one thing. Because in no time, in a week, you can be done. And then this book, or then the app, can take total concentration of your time until it's done. If you get a new idea, you put it to the side and says, I'll get to you.
The book is already done. I mean, the framework of the book is actually, I've been working on it for more than 6 months.
Do that other stuff then.
Yeah.
Looking at it, getting the theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, because now, but because you did it backwards, right? You wrote something that you wanted to talk about. Now we don't know yet if anybody wants it. You see what I mean? And here's a way, if you want to test this idea, if you want to test if anybody wants it, check this out. I'm gonna give you a big tip. This is the big tip. You can even go on Amazon even before the book is done and run some ads to the book that is, and ask anybody if they want to pre-order. If nobody says I want to pre-order, you might have a dud. Now, pre-orders work because they give you an indication if anybody wants it. If somebody wants it, I can't tell you how many books I buy on pre-order because I go, oh, I like that, I want that, and then they say, well, it's not done yet, but you can pay for it now, and Amazon allows you to do that. You got to have a little bit of the manuscript in there, right? It don't even have to be all corrected yet. Throw it in there, your 17 pages. It's kind of like people do with screenplays, right? They take the screenplay, they send it off to the studio and says, hey, would you finance this? The studio says, we don't want that, right? And then they go, fine, I'll get it made some other way. But that's seeing if you can get interest. So you can run some ads within Amazon itself that says, and you can come up with like a reasonable title, or, get a kind of a book cover made that costs pennies. We're talking maybe, $20 to get a book cover made. Get a nice one made for 30, 40, 50 bucks. Boom, put it on there and says, this is coming, on its way. Pre-order today. If people go, oh, I want that, now you may have a hit. But if nobody raises their hand and you're running ads to it, might be a dud. Now you reverse engineer this with this for pennies, for 50, 60, 70 bucks. Now I need to reverse engineer this and bring in, do some keyword research on what people are already looking for. Do some research to find out if this is an area that, should be in. Should I title it differently? All this stuff. Are there any other books out there? What are they doing? What's the colors? What kind of stuff they're using? Now, armed with that information, you refigure it, reword it, and then say, this is coming. You're running like a test on the idea, a test on the idea full of keywords and stuff.
I got you.
I can't emphasize it enough.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. So I'm going to get to work immediately, work on the book title, the book cover, and also the content, the formatting, and the speed and grammar and stuff like that. Then also the app creation, do the homework you asked me to do, do the research, market research, competitor, and also study on YouTube, and also design, transmute the idea on paper, very detailed. Go to TopTal to find someone who could transmute the idea from paper to software. That will be the prototype. And we can move from there. And also learn a ninja ways to do a pre-order advert. Sorry, do an advert on Amazon for the
Yes.
pre-order
Yeah.
copy of the book
Yes.
and see what their outcome will be. And
Yes.
you also say there is need to focus on one thing for a long time.
I
And
think it
then
just
from
works. It just works. When,
yeah.
especially you get a lot of ideas, Collins. You're probably an
I don't
idea
know.
guy. You probably
I'm
get
trying
about
to
5 or 6 a day.
I'm trying to be your student, Mr. Randy.
I said, I bet you get a lot of ideas. My point is because I've talked to you before, right? You
Yes, I
probably get a
do.
lot of ideas. The thing is you got to start leveraging yourself so you can get them all done. Leveraging yourself is by going outside of what you don't know very well and getting the information fast, implement fast, and then test it. Right? That's why we got to get out of our own way and stop doing stuff ourselves. And I say that because I'm listening to my own words. And we got to get it out there into the hands of people that can build this thing out quick, get me a prototype so I can get it in front of people. And they go, whoa, I like that. I got to have that. And then you go, great. I got people that's already pre-bought. You can get money long before you even have your product done.
Mm.
Right? You can have people that says, man, I'm waiting on your stuff. You can have hundreds of people. You can have email addresses, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, how that work, man? I got to go.